You have reached Imperial Sports, and today's video is the fight prediction for Canelo Álvarez versus Terence Crawford. Let's get into it. So, when this fight, we're going to go through a brief summary and then catch us up to present. This fight first came out, people were just like, whatever. Because at first it was talks of Spence versus Canelo, like many years ago, way before he got dusted by Bud. And people would say for the money, Spence, we figure he was weight bullying, he might contest with Canelo. And for the money, why not take the fight, right? We all seen what happened to Spence. Eye surgeries, never really fully recovering from the car accident. Then he got torpedoed by Bud. So that's when the talks came, Bud versus Canelo. And right off the back, everybody's like, no, Bud's too small, little, But Bud gets scrapped. So, now, Canelo even said in the beginning, well, he's too small. He wouldn't gain anything for fighting Bud or whatever. So Bud moved up in weight, 154. He fought Magloire for a belt. Magloire was 10-0. Bud was 40-0, I think, at the time. And he didn't look good. That power didn't carry over. And Bud is the type of fighter that gets hit a lot. And trying to get his stuff off, he gets hit in the process. So that power didn't carry over because, the stuff he normally could get away with, when he hit Magloire kept going. So a lot of people say, well, Magloire, he's herky-jerky, he's east to west, moving side to side, so that gave Bud some problems. Everybody won't. Now, Bud won 115-13, but it wasn't an easy win. And he got it more because he's the veteran, whatever. But he didn't dust Magloire off. And people glance over that just to try to hype this fight and say, well, the herky-jerky, that was kind of difficult for Bud to catch him. It was moments where Bud caught him. He caught him. But it didn't faze him. So we were like, oh, snap. And, Bud is a precise puncher. Meaning he's accurate with his punch placement. So he hit Magloire, but it didn't faze him enough to slow him down. Well, let me say not enough to slow down, enough to where it was like he feared Bud or whatever, where it did damage. Is basically Bud outpointed him. So after that fight, when he was calling for Canelo, everybody said, well, Bud just want this fight for a money fight. Actually, Bud was looking at people on the internet like, why y'all hating? Like, everybody else getting their money, their payday off of this. Why can't I? So theoretically, when you look at it, why not? If he can, this could be his retirement check, making the most money he ever made in the fight. Why not, right? We all thought when Jermell Charlo was a dog. We thought if anybody was going to give it to Canelo, we thought Mel was going to get in there and give Canelo some problems. He got in there. He felt that power. He ran around, not getting knocked out, and took his money, went about his business. So that's a disappointment. There was a time back in years past when Jermall Charlo was running his division, and he was, high priority in his division, where we felt that Canelo was ducking Jermall. So we thought Jermall could give it to Canelo back then, but now, that's a thing of the past. Now that brings us to tonight's fight. And so you have Bud, who gets touched a lot, but gets scrapped and got that dog in him. And I always said to myself and others I conversated, which I don't hear many people talking about, and it's surprisingly The blueprint has already been put out on how to beat Canelo. Shit. Floyd has already picked the blueprint to beat Canelo. What type of fighter has Canelo fought since Floyd that's like Floyd? None. And I always felt that Bud could duplicate what Mayweather did with a little bit more sauce, a little bit more pop in his punch, you know. But the blueprint has already been put out there. I don't hear no sports analysts giving interviews, predictions, or talking like that. They act like the Floyd fight didn't happen. Floyd already picked the blueprint on how to beat Canelo. Just nobody was been able to duplicate it in that fashion. When Canelo lost to Bivol, he felt Bivol's power. So when he went to try to press forward like he normally do, Bivol would hit him like pat, hit him with the 1-2, and that would slow his motion. He felt that. So, you know, he couldn't get off or whatever. So what happens with Bud? If he feels Bud's power, if Bud got that much power in this fight, we didn't see it translate over in the McLevore fight, but styles make fights, and maybe in this fight his power translates. He at 168, he in great shape. He looks to be a part. If his power translates and Canelo feel it, the difference between Bivol, it was moments in the fight with Bivol and Canelo where I thought if Bivol pressed the gas, he could have potentially maybe got Canelo out of there. But I guess he didn't. He felt he was winning, so he did enough where he would have Canelo on the ropes or whatever, or get him in trouble, and he wouldn't press the gas. And so I guess he didn't want to get countered or that. If that happens with Bud's going to go for the kill because he wants to be able to knock Canelo out or whatever. But the people that saying Bud's going to win by knockout, I would be shocked if he wins by knockout. I definitely could see him winning by unanimous decision. Basically using the same exact formula that Floyd had, because he's faster than Canelo. He got better footwork than Canelo. That means he could get in, stick and move, beat Canelo to the punch, and then get out of there. See Canelo's punches coming, counter, and then get out of there. That's what Floyd basically did with Canelo. When you get in the pocket, protect yourself, hold, get off a little bit, get a couple punches off, ref will come, whatever, then break off and get your spacing again. Establish the jab. The blueprint is already out. All Bud got to do is follow that blueprint, and it'll be an easy fight. And people say, oh, Bud is whatever. They forget that Mayweather already put the blueprint out on Canelo on how to beat him. And basically, all he had to do was just follow suit and just add a little bit more, add the Bud sauce to it. And it makes it look a little bit more better because Bud does have stronger punching power than Floyd. So when he hits Canelo, it's going to sting a little bit more, right? So that's one side. I don't see the knockout I don't see how Bud knocks him out. Even if he is beating him to the punch and punching on, teeing off on Canelo. I don't really see teeing off. I see him catching him here and there, but he got an iron chin. I gotta believe it to see it. So I'm not pulling for Bud for the knockout, but I say Bud definitely can win by decision. Easy too. Easy, not like, oh, I don't know. No, he can easily, because he got the athleticism, because Canelo is slow. He don't got great footwork. You know what I'm saying? That's why all them fighters, like John Ryder, they was able to run from him and stuff like that, because he can't cut off the ring and stuff like that. Now you have Caleb Plant when he fought Canelo. Caleb Plant has some success. Caleb Plant has better footwork than Canelo. He has some success, but then, you know, fatigue, and he started getting caught, and then Canelo finished him like the 10th, 11th round, somewhere around there. Who else? Jaime Munguia. He just ain't having enough. And really, Canelo could have finished Jaime Munguia off, but he was, he didn't want to discourage him. Maybe that was a Mexican thing, so he just beat him up, dropped him one time, beat him up, and he didn't finish him. Berlanga, he dropped Berlanga. Berlanga didn't have no gas to just press the issue to do anything, so that was a null and void moment right there. When it comes to Canelo, how can Canelo beat Bud? I can't see. I don't know how Canelo, because if Bud, I just told you that Bud can beat him easily just found the Floyd blueprint. Only way I see Canelo being able to beat Bud is if Bud decides to beat Bud and trade with Canelo and mix it up, and then Canelo counter Bud and catch Bud with something, and then whatever. I don't see how. That's one way. The second way is if Bud feels Canelo's power and he decides to do what Charlo did and just run the whole fight. Then it'd be like, But I think Bud got too much pride to do that. So I think Bud wouldn't do that. Bud would rather get knocked out first and lose on his shield than to run around from Canelo, right? So I look at Canelo beating Bud, either do counter exchange, Bud sit in the pocket and get caught. Bud sit in the pocket too many times and getting caught, and Canelo get the best of those exchanges, and Bud is just like, nah, I'm tough, I'm going to stay here, and whatever. But that wouldn't be the smart thing to do. Bud stick and move and win the fight. So one other way that I throw in that Bud could surprise Canelo is do what Canelo did to Triple G the second fight. When right out the gates, he was telling everybody he's going to bring it to Triple G. And right out the gates of the second fight, from round one, he ran over to Triple G. And I think that threw Triple G off guard, because Canelo, I think, won those, in my opinion, like them first 6 rounds, and then maybe one round from 7 to 12 or whatever. And that's how he won that second fight, right? In my opinion. Same way Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder in that second fight. He rushed Wilder from day one. As soon as the bell rang, he rushed over to him. I think that threw Wilder off, right? So I say Bud could throw Canelo off round one, just rush over to him and just get it going. And that'll throw Canelo off, like, yo, this dude ain't fear me. He come to fight. That'll throw his, like, his game plan off, right? I also, now back to Canelo. How did I say Canelo could win? The exchange and him getting the best of Crawford, and Crawford sitting in the pocket too long, because Bud takes hits or whatever. Bud takes hits, and whether that's for Bud to test your power or not, and if Bud don't test your power and pretty much feared like you can't hurt him, he's going to sit in that pocket longer. So we have seen Bud over his career get stunned and caught and get the shaky leg, but he always recovered and pulled it out. That he gets madder and all right, well, let me guard on my shield if I'm going out like this. So we seen that, but can he withstand something like if he get caught like that with Canelo? Even though Canelo hasn't, not a straight knockout artist and stuff, but he got some power to the body and stuff like that. How much can Crawford take of Canelo's body shots and stuff like that? Because that wane on you in the lower rounds. However, also, Canelo starts to fade in the second half of the fight too. What is his conditioning going to be like? So, keys to victory for Canelo is counters in exchange of Bud getting the best of him. Try to get Bud on the ropes, cutting off the ring, getting Bud on the ropes. Try to win that way. In the center of the ring, Bud is going to beat him to the punch, keep him at the jab and stuff like that. I don't see Canelo outboxing Bud. Only way I can see Canelo outboxing Bud if Bud feels Canelo's power and he just bicycle the whole fight, and then, you know, that's pretty much it. He take his money and go about his business, you know. But I think Bud got too much pride for that. Or gave the keys to victory to Bud. So my fight prediction in the end, I have to lean towards Bud being a smarter fight, being a smart fighter, not the smarter fighter. Being a smart fighter, boxing Canelo like Floyd did, stick and move, and beating him by decision easy. That's what my fight prediction is. But if Bud's sitting there and trade with Canelo, I don't know. Gonna be a long night on that one or whatever. I don't see knockout. I can't see it, and I may be wrong, and I'll be shocked. But I'm going Bud by decision, easy decision. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.